So imissio is Latin. It means blended or mixed. And what we do a lot of is we help training providers do a lot of blended learning. But we also a mixed business, as in we all have mixed backgrounds. I'm really proud of that. So that's definitely an element there. So what is that we do? We are the leading technology and community company, and we're enabling training providers to be more impactful, scalable, and profitable. Three important things we would hope. Now, what is technology and community? What does that mean? Well, we help deliver impact. We use a new Spring for that as a platform, so the technology. We also have technology ourselves, which is called Imissio SIP, that helps you measure that impact. There's a marketplace where you can find new customers as well, EcoJourney. And the Business of Training community, and that is what we do here. We have a newsletter. We have this webinar for professionals in the training industry. We also have a conference for directors of training companies. That happens in October. And we have something else, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So we have a number of services that help you implement. And then we have a framework, which is the Imissio method, to give that all structure. So we all work on that. What are our principles? Well, we believe that training is a people business. We train people and we use people. We need people to train. But we also use technology, and that blended environment really works. And of course, it's really important to work in partnership, and that means to make it work for everyone. That's a real element that is key to our success. What kind of impact do we then make? Well, since 2018, when we started, through the training providers that we have worked with, we've enabled well over 1.5 million learners. So we work at scale. Our customers, the training providers we work with, have added tens of millions of pounds to their revenue. So that's a metric. And several of them actually have won awards. So that's 3 of the metrics that we looked at. Now that's it for my side. Let's introduce other people in the call. First, I'd like to introduce Mariam. Mariam is part of the team. She is managing the program, which is the Business of Training Accelerator. And Mariam will, in a minute, tell you much more about that. I would also like to welcome Murray Cowell, who will talk about sales and marketing and how important that is for growing businesses. And I would also like to welcome Anna into the meeting. Anna, raise your hand for people to see you. Thank you. Anna is actually a very strong coach and is also part of the program. So before we talk with Murray and with Anna, I'd like to give it to Mariam to share more information about this big announcement that we have.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah, okay, great. So, hi, everyone. My name is Mariam, and I'm the program manager for the Business of Training Accelerator, like Jan just mentioned. And today, I just want to talk a bit more about the state of the training industry, what we're helping provide the trainer community, and just understanding the kind of partners that we're working with and why we've chosen them. So to begin, I'd like to say that the accelerator is about providing training providers with a community where they can relate to those like them across different industries in order to scale their impact and improve their ROI for their business. And I'll show you how. So to start with, we help training providers scale their training by taking their in-person or instructor-led training and digitizing it to reduce the stress of delivery and improve the scale of their product. And then through that as well, we have partner support, the sales and marketing like Celerando, which I'll explain later on, to help improve the conversion rates of the sales that you make. And we also help improve the ROI of your services. And through one-on-one coaching, we'll help monitor your improvements. And essentially, as it says as a last bullet point, we are ultimately aiming to inspire everyone, not only through meeting others who are in the same stage of business who are aspiring for more, but also by inviting different speakers who've also scaled their training businesses, sorry, and them having explaining what their biggest obstacles are and how you guys can overcome all of those obstacles and accomplish what you're looking for. This accelerator program is for 6 months from the 15th of April to the 15th of October. And on the 15th of October, we have the Business of Training Conference, which acts almost as a graduation for the most engaged people in the accelerator. We really value everyone contributing their different thoughts and experiences and helping each other out towards their goals. So the gift of that is having the access to director of training companies and having the ability to network with them and understand how you can move your business forward. So here I'm going to talk about the real reason why we have started this accelerator. Jan let me know that one of the biggest questions that he's had since 2018 of starting Emissio is, what does good training really look like? Quite a vague but very important question. So with the audience that we have, most training providers are very product focused. They are subject matter experts. They understand their industry very well. However, in a report that we saw from 2024, sorry, only 16% of trainers have formal educational background or understand the impact of learning science. Now, if you don't have a learning and development background, learning science can be very important for effective transfer and actually getting your trainees to take action on what they've learned. And if that part is missing, it can be very difficult to get the results that you're looking for. So part of our solution is creating these digitized trainings in a way that use the learning design to make sure that they're as effective as possible. Another problem that you may have, which is common, is stakeholder management and actually getting managers to provide the data after they've implemented a program. And many of you know, if you don't get your stakeholders to engage with you in that way and provide the information, you can't really prove the impact that your training has. So to solve this, we are helping you embed that data collection from the very beginning of your course so that headache is taken off your hands. So this is an overview of what the accelerator framework looks like, and I'll briefly go through each stage. First, when we're going to go over the plan, which is from the beginning of the accelerator to the 1st of May, we will help participants identify the most commercially viable and profitable training that they currently have and digitize it. Then for the build section, we are going to help use one of the tools from our partners, which is a New Spring, to digitize this learning and make sure that we use that learning science to make it as engaging as possible. Third, we move on to growth. And in the growth section, you will be having a lot of assistance from Accelerando and other partners to help polish your sales skills and other commercial skills that would help you become effective. And we will help host your training onto the training marketplace, which is a platform where corporate buyers meet training providers in order to service one another. And lastly, we have scale. We will be using Emissio SIP, which produces impact reports to show the effectiveness of your training, which you can then use to get repeat customers. So you can increase the revenue for your business without the extra headache of wondering of the sales pipeline, how many customers you have coming in each and every month. What you see on the side, coaches, sales and marketing, technology, and community represent the four main pillars that the accelerator is based on, sorry. We, like I mentioned before, are using the sales and marketing to sharpen your skill set to be able to get more clients. We're providing the technology for you to be able to scale your business. But what is very tantamount to us is the partners come in the form of coaches who will help support you on your journey for self-improvement and the community that you can rely on to refer for any questions. And we will now give you resources to help you have a point of reference anytime you are stuck on your journey. Now, the good part, what will you achieve before the end of 6 months? So as I mentioned before, the whole purpose is to make sure that you can have a high value digital asset so you can reduce your delivery time. This will give you enough time to onboard even more clients so that you can help service them effectively, increase the quality of clients that you get, and you will see a return on investment from investing in this program by being able to upsell your customers in a few months. One of the most special aspects of a new spring that I've witnessed, which you may see later on if you get the time to, is the communication and collaboration of the platform to understand what your learners actually need and what your trainees are requiring, and that feedback, and also the opportunity to sell any extra courses that you have as well. Now, what was very important for us is to ensure that this isn't just like any other accelerator. It is very well tailored to the needs of training providers within the training industry in particular. So that is why everyone that we are partnering with have serviced training industry specialists and understand your unique challenges. They understand how difficult it is maybe to express the value of your content, and also knowing how to improve your business acumen in general, because that is something that needs to be focused on. And I can give my own testimony as a learning and development professional as well. I have struggled with some of these aspects. And I really want to emphasize this point that Jan mentioned that Imissio is about blended and including different aspects or different backgrounds into our community. And that seeps into everything that we do, whether it's giving you different or a variety of ways of learning through workshops in the program, having pre-work that you can work on that is checked on by your coaches, or just having resources that are available to you that you can work through in your own time. Additionally, we believe that we are not trying to change the fundamentals of your business. We are just trying to evolve the way that you communicate your value to increase your impact whilst preserving your identity. Now, for the accelerator, it starts on April 15th. However, the applications for it close on March 29th. We have 15 spaces, and this is an inaugural program based on some of the feedback that we've gotten through our one-to-one training as well. And it would be very interesting to hear any questions that you have about this program and see if you'd like to take part in what I see as a very much burgeoning community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mariam. Great overview. Let's see if people have any questions at this point. They can either put it in the chat, or if you want to speak up and ask your question live in the webinar, please feel free. We have a first question, and Mariam, let's have a look what the question is. Is there a particular size business that this is aimed at? Mariam, would you like to answer that?
Yes, so typically we're aiming for teams anywhere from 1 to 5 people, because we want to make sure that they're in a specific area where they are looking to scale, but they've already got a proven model or a proven product that works. I hope that helps answer the question.
So established companies, but probably, it doesn't matter what the age of the business is. Some people will have gone for 20 years or longer, and some people might have just started 6 months ago. It's the ambition that counts. What is important here is that you want to grow your business. And actually, growing the business is a key element of that. And this is where I'd like to bring in Murray. Murray, what does your business do, Accelerando?
Yeah, thanks, Jan. So my name is Murray Cowell, and I run a business called Accelerando. And we work with training providers to help them to scale and grow their businesses by finding more clients, raising their rates and reducing their hours of work and going beyond what one person can deliver working alone. Accelerando has been going since 1998. For the first 20 years, I operated as a corporate training consultant. So I started out as an associate and then built my own client base. And I've also served on the senior leadership team for three seven-figure training, multiple seven-figure training companies. And so that's involved since 2016, creating global blended learning programs for large corporate clients. And I've personally closed and managed the delivery of millions of pounds worth of training. So Jan has asked me to get involved in this program to deliver the sales and marketing element of the program. What's really relevant to keep in mind when you're thinking about scaling your business beyond what a single person can do working alone is the old Marshall Goldsmith quote that what got you here won't get you to the next stage. Because you're really moving into a different league once you break through low six figures. If you've got ambition to scale to 300, 500 and beyond, 500K and beyond, then that needs a completely different mindset because you're going from the mindset of a freelancer to the mindset of a training business owner. So you're going to be working with larger clients, delivering bigger projects, and that means that your ideal client profile is almost certainly going to change. You're going to be dealing with different people who have different needs, but they also have a different buying process. So it's much more likely that you're going to encounter procurement, legal, compliance, and other departments like that. And much longer buying cycles, more people involved in the decision-making unit. So that means a different approach to how you market your business and a different approach to how you have your sales conversations, because you're going to be dealing with these kind of multi-stakeholder deals. And what that means is that most people who are in under six figures or in low six figures have usually got all their clients through referrals, chance encounters on LinkedIn and other networking events, and repeat business from previous satisfied clients. And those leads are usually pretty strong because you've already got an established relationship with trust either with the person who's referring you or maybe even with the person that you're being referred to. But the problem with those methods is that they're not scalable and they're not predictable and they're not consistent because they're by their nature, they're inherently random. So as you scale and grow, it becomes more and more important that you have a consistent, repeatable, reliable lead generation system that carries on bringing you incoming leads even when you're busy in the training room delivering with clients or whatever else you're doing. And so the sales marketing element of this program is really going to be about really making sure that you've got an ideal client profile that is commensurate with the kind of business that you want to become, and that you have adjusted your offering to appeal to that ideal client, and that you really understand how to build a consistent, reliable, predictable lead generation system that's going to bring those kind of clients into your orbit so that you can then convert them into paying clients and have the sales skills to be able to work with multi-stakeholder deals. And that's really what we're going to be working on. And a really important part of that, building on what Marianne was saying about blended learning programs and how Inmissio SIP enables you to measure the impact of your training. But she also mentioned the difficulty that most L&D people experience of getting managers involved in being involved in the program and collecting the data. And actually, this is an integral part of building higher value add, bigger scale programs that have much more commercial appeal to the larger clients that you're going to want to be appealing to. So we're going to show you the commercial angle of that in tandem with understanding the technological aspect of that. We're going to show you how to position that with larger clients in a way that means that you'll see really large increases in the value of the program. And some of our clients have, they've added an extra naught to the size of program that they thought they were going to do, from being kind of four-figure programs to five-figure programs and even six-figure programs in some cases. So creating those kind of programs requires a different way of thinking about how you deliver the training and deliver value to your clients. And it is very compatible with what Jan and Marianne have been talking about and describing. So that's really a bit of an overview about the sales and marketing element of this program. Does anybody have any questions about that?
You. Mary, that was an inspirational overview. Thank you so much. But it really underlines how important it's not just about doing one thing, and the accelerator is really to bring all the things that are important together. We have a question from Simon Cox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Simon says, my business is basically coaching and comm skills. Impacts therefore not very measurable, except by whether individuals find it helpful, program relevant, something like this. Yeah, I think it's coaching and communication skills. So I think the question is how when you say the impact is only measurable by whether they find it helpful, I guess the question would be whether what are the indicators? What would they need to, each individual need to see changing in their environment that would let them know that the coaching had been a success? And so I think that's really where the focus is of the measurement of the success of the program. A clarifying question, Simon, is: are you talking about coaching individuals on a one-to-one basis, or do you have kind of coaching programs for groups of people in an organization?
Well, Simon might be coming back into that into the fold here. I'll give my view on that as well. A lot of training providers actually use qualitative feedback as their main feedback form. What is important is to try and make that quantitative, because quite often the decision makers of the training, who increasingly become the departmental heads or the financial director instead of just L&D, for example, quantitative feedback becomes more and more important, and quantitative measurement. So there are ways to do that. We can talk about that further, and that's part of the program. But have a look at Emissio SIP, which was mentioned already. There is on our website, there is some information about that, and that will give you some more ideas. Small groups, up to 3 to 4 people. Murray, is that something you have encountered with other of your customers as well?
Yeah, we work with coaches who work on a one-to-one basis and work with small groups as well. So certainly the sales marketing element is very applicable to that, because the coaches and training providers often face similar challenges when it comes to finding clients and to scaling up the business. So when it comes to coaching, if you're coaching small groups like that, then the biggest challenge that you have with scaling to multiple six figures is really to do with average contract size, because it's a lot easier with training businesses to hit kind of 5-figure deals and 6-figure deals. There are a lot fewer of those kind of coaching programs available, but there is, and what Miriam was saying about digitizing the learning. What it comes, where you can add extra value is by expanding beyond just doing the coaching of the 3 or 4 people to actually providing some of the learning through a platform such as a NewSpring, which enables you. And this, we do this on our programs where we have online content that people consume at their own pace, that equips them with some of the common themes that come up in the coaching, and then we also have one-to-one coaching and group coaching on top of that. So I think that's the point of leverage that you have when you're running a coaching business, is by thinking, how can you move beyond the kind of time for money equation, where the limitation is how much time you've got to spend with people. And the other way of scaling is to start hiring associate coaches who can do some of the coaching delivery for you, which means that you're now in the business of providing the service through a team of coaches, rather than if you're doing all the work yourself. So I think those are the areas where you can scale up a coaching business, or how you can scale up a coaching business.
Fair enough. Thank you, Mary. And this brings us into a nice bridge to talk about coaching, by the way. As part of the accelerator, we have identified 4 pillars. There is technology, there is sales and marketing, there is the community part, but there's a big part of it is also the coaching. And I'm a big fan of coaching. Before I introduce Anna into this conversation, when I started the business in 2018, I came from the corporate world and used to being having lots of resources around me, and then suddenly you have to do it all alone. And I engaged with a business coach at the time, and I credit him for growing the business 300% in the second and third year. So that was something that I really felt was of huge benefit, and I think it's. I hear this from everybody, by the way. Coaching is a very beneficial element for any business, not just when you start, also throughout. And Anna, what your experience as a coach? How do you see that? What are some of the benefits maybe that you have seen or people you have worked with?
Thank you. Just to introduce myself, my name is Anna Stapleton. I'm a mental and emotional resilience coach, and I've been in the training and development industry for all my life, for many years. In terms of, I can really relate to you, Jan, when you said about going from being employed to be self-employed to work, and really the change, because suddenly, for all the resources that are available, you're just more or less on your own. So having a coach is fundamental. Coaching is, I relate to my clients as athletes, Olympic athletes, people who have their potential, they have proved that they can do things, but really have to go to the next level. So resilience is what I concentrate on, because we need to be resilient in business and in life. And also the coaching is to have the quality of life. I have been run a business with my husband for 30 years, and we went for quality of life as well as the results of the business. So, and coaches are really becoming more and more important, because we can't do it on our own. I mean, I'm a coach, but I have a coach. I have had coaches all my life, and I rely on the coach, because the coach is able to see things that I can't see. And literally, we all have our own barriers. We have barriers. Some of the barriers are very obvious, and other barriers are not so obvious. So the coaching is able to support us, give feedback, to see things that we can't see with our own eyes. And it's not literally, sometimes the coaches are not as knowledgeable as the business, but it's a way of, I call it, really getting to the full potential. And the accountability as well. Accountability is also very, very important. So I have my coach, because my coach holds me to account. So this is so very much in a way to be able to grow and to develop, and to literally future-based, because we look in the future, what can be done, action-based, what can we do, how can we really solve the issues that we have. So I think this is in a very brief description what I see coaching. And coaching and mentoring are really very important aspects of developing and growing the business.
Thank you so much. We've talked about training, we talked about coaching. We quite often see among, I'm going to say training providers, is that there is always this triangle of I do some training, I do some coaching, and there might be consulting in there as well. And that triangle of consulting, training, coaching, coaching and consulting quite often are, I'm going to say, as a business model, usually day rate focused, where training is usually a more scalable option, because it's a program, you can get more learners onto it. And we've seen quite a few coaches and consultants that later on emphasized the training element of their business, purely for 2 reasons. One, it's more scalable, and also the IP that you have, the intellectual property that you have, you can actually put into those programs, and it's more defensible. And we've seen quite a lot of the reasons for doing that is that people want to sell their business later on. It could be a retirement question, but it could also be, I've built it to a particular scale. I now want to get out of it and do something else. So that's some of the motivations that we've seen there, and some of the reasons to focus more on the training side. Now, Mariam, what else is in this program? We talked about community and inspiration. Mariam, what are some of the options that we have in that?
So, sorry guys, when I haven't spoken in a while, my throat gets a bit funny.
Sorry, I put you on the spot there.
What we also have within the community is that we invite speakers to come and represent their ideas and their journeys as well to help encourage the community. So, for instance, we have those who have grown their own training businesses before that can outline what the journey would look like for you and some of the issues that they have come across on their journey and how you can fix it as well and what to expect. To reiterate, as I did before, we also have the Business of Training conference that you can attend to visit other speakers who are there to service directors of training. So you'll have a good view on what kind of tools and communities that they are involved in as well to help expand your network. And we see this as extremely tantamount to really having a good overview of what is essential to creating a long-term plan for success. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the theory of the bird and the frog. It was created by physicists to talk about different types of mathematicians, but I'll go into it. I think right now, whenever you start your business, you're almost like a frog. You're in the weeds. You're looking at what is right ahead of you a couple of days or a couple of months along, trying to understand how to get clients, how to retain them, but you don't really have that long-term plan. You don't understand the scalability of your projects, and you don't really know the obstacles that will come along, which makes it really hard to plan for your business from the beginning, because you may be doing something that may hinder you later on. Whereas the bird swoops above, has an idea of all of the land, all of the landscape and the layout, and can create generalized decisions. So right now we're trying to take ourselves from the frog mentality, which does have its benefits, but also combine it with the bird who understands where they'll go eventually. And that is the main part of our community as well. Another issue that I'd like to emphasize, lastly, is something that I briefly mentioned on the diversity of our community, bringing in training providers from different industries. And that's why I'm really glad that Simon talked about, Simon Cox talked about his background in coaching and communications, because what you'll find is perhaps if you are a trainer in, let's say, any product, let's say it's compliance, that has a very technical background compared to something like communications. And you can use your skills to borrow some of the messaging that is in communications and put it in compliance and stand out in a way within your industry that you wouldn't have before. This is an opportunity to use your network to expand the way that you understand your business and your offer as well, which is what I hope you can really take away from this experience and even from this webinar today.
Well, thank you so much, Mariam, for talking a bit more about the community, the inspiration with it. There's an element that I wanted to highlight, which is the inspirational part as well. And thank you for talking about the bird and the frog. That was a new one to me. The inspirational part is quite often it's people who have done it before, who have walked our path before, and them sharing their journey on how how they've done it, what they ran into, and we will be inviting several people that have done it before throughout the program, so they will share their obstacles, but also their successes in that. And there is a celebratory end. Mariam already mentioned earlier. The celebratory end of the program is the Business of Training Conference. Now, this is a conference that will be, actually, that is in its 4th year already, so it's been running already for quite a while. It is held in central London on the 15th of October. And this is, of course, a ticket for everybody that participates in the accelerator is also included in the program. And that is, well, definitely a place where a lot of inspiration happens. You'll learn more about that later on. With regards to the application process for the accelerator, this is another point I wanted to highlight. Because one of the things that is really important is when you have meetings with other people in the program, that there is a safety that you're not talking to a direct competitor of yours, working in the same topic in the same area. So the application process is very much there for to make sure that organizations are not competing with each other. So we all feel safe when we talk to each other, because the network is an element of social learning. It's an important part of it. So that is really why we're there. Now, let's open it up for any questions that people might have. I have seen already one other question, which is about the cost. And yes, we will go there. This is not a free program. So we will talk about the value that people get from it, but also what the cost of it is. Are there any questions before that people want to know about the program? And that could be in the chat. No? Well, in that case, we make it easy. Let's talk about what this program is. When you add up all the things that we add into the program, from the coaching, the community elements, the technology, the access to customers that we add in, for example, with the training marketplace, there are different things. The total value, if you buy it all separately, is £10,600. Now, that's quite a high amount. This is a 6-month program, and the cost to you, to the ones who participate, is £333 per month. That is the cost of the program, £333 per month. That is excluding VAT for those where it is applicable. So that is the actual cost. And I'm really curious if there are any other questions in here. I see that our colleague Ari, thank you very much, has shared in the chat a page where you can find more information. This is about the conference. And here is also a landing page where there is more explained about the accelerator. So all the information is online. And I wanted to see if there are any other questions or closing remarks that anybody might have. Anna, we talked about coaching before, and I just wanted to ask you one more thing. The fact that you also said you have your own coach as well. What is one good example of the value you got from coaching yourself?
Oh, I got so much value from
without being intriguingly private questions, but for your business.
It's literally it's a reality check. Sometimes we think, well, we do things, we do the others, and we create our own in our own world. And the coach is able to put things in black and white and being able to just ground me and say, what are you achieving? Are you, the reality of it? And also, I find that what's been very important is things are changing so fast that sometimes we have difficulties in literally grounding ourselves and thinking, how do I adjust? How do I navigate whatever I'm happening? So it's literally being able to think aloud, to have that safety, ecological safety, where you know that you're not being judged, but someone brings reality to it, and at the same time is this potential. You have the potential is something. So it's literally objectivity in a way. Is someone who's able to say, what are you actually accomplishing? And as I said, reality check, and at the same time being able to be accountable, being your word. If you say something, you're going to do it, just do it. And without really without being invalidated, but knowing that he said, is that they have got my interest at heart.
Thank you for that, Anna. I'm going to come back to you, Mary, as well, but I first want to address the question that Simon Cox put out, which is about the timing. Yes, the program will run from 15 April and finishes on 15 October. And so it's that time frame. In future, there might be different time frames, but that's the program that we're running this time. With regards to Murray, sales and marketing. Now, when I did a sales training, it was about sales process. And really, as you just mentioned earlier, by the way, that did really add a zero behind the types of deals I did. So make a huge difference for me. What are some of the biggest differences that you've seen in that sales process training?
Well, the sales process must be based on the client's buying process. So the important thing is to understand what's the buying journey that the client goes through before they make the decision to hire a training business. And that consists of both the kind of practical stages. So what do they expect from the training business in terms of proposals and presentations and demonstrations and that sort of thing. But it's also the psychological process that they're going through. So what are they thinking at each stage of that process? And what can you do as a training business to influence the thinking? Because there's a body of research that shows that people do a large part of their decision making before they'll even speak to somebody from a provider organization. So they're researching, and clients today are better connected with more providers and have access to more information than at any other point in human history. So it's this hyper-connected world that we're living in, where it's really important that your marketing is answering a lot of those kind of sales questions before you even get into a conversation with people. And when you do that effectively, it means that you're only really having conversations with people who are already somewhat sold on the idea of working with you, or at least understand that what you offer is a good fit for what they want, which is why it's so important that there is a good fit between your ideal client, the signature offering that you provide, and the problem that solves for your ideal client, and your positioning as to why you're the best organization to deliver that specific service to that specific type of client, because that will get you into conversations with people where you actually don't need to do a lot of what would traditionally be thought of as selling, because you're having conversations that if you structure them appropriately, you're leading the customer through a thought process that leads to the logical conclusion that they should be hiring you to deliver the service. So that's what I would say is the mindset or the way of thinking about how your marketing and sales interact with each other, and what the sales process is, and that's going to help you to get to bigger deals. But it's also to do with how you structure the programs, because Jan was talking about consultancy recently, and I see a lot of trainers who are actually doing consultancy with their clients, but they don't charge for it because they think of it as discovery, and design and things like that, interviewing the clients, maybe even making suggestions about how the client could improve elements that fit around the training. All of that could really be chargeable work. So it's about building programs of learning that are based on really deeply understanding what the situation is that the client is facing, what they're trying to accomplish, and then building bespoke programs of learning that may have a combination of different factors along blended learning principles that would include some structured interventions, whether they're face-to-face or online in a virtual space, but also using a system like a NewSpring to provide additional learning interventions along the way, but building that so that you're also helping people to take what they're learning in the structured learning events. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the 70-20-10 principle. 10% of the learning comes from the structured learning environment, 20% comes from peer-to-peer learning, and 70% comes from experience on the job. So it's incumbent on the training provider to be designing the training, not just for the 10%, but also how you're going to make sure that people get that peer-to-peer learning, and you can build that into the training program. And then how are you going to help them to take what they've learned in those structured environments and through the peer-to-peer learning and apply it in their working environment? And this is where Missio SIP is extremely useful because it enables you to demonstrate to the client that that is happening, and also gives you the metrics that help you to sell it to other clients, because you can show them hard data from previous programs about how the learning has been successful. But when you structure programs in this way, it becomes, and particularly Emissio SIB is designed around the Kirkpatrick model of training evaluation, which includes being able to observe in the workplace that the skills have transferred from the workshop to the workplace. And it's impractical, really, for that to be done any other way than by managers, coaches, and leaders in the organization directly observing it. So now you've got a reason to bring managers into the learning program, and that gives you a manager stream that sits above the main learner stream. And it's also much more effective to achieve sustained behavioral change to spread a program of learning over a period of time. So rather than running a 2-day workshop, you can run 4 half days over a period of 3 months or 6 months, have all sorts of learning interventions in between, have a manager stream and various other elements of the program. Suddenly you've got a program of learning that is much more valuable to your clients, because you can prove to them and demonstrate to them that they're getting sustained behavioral change and that they're getting a return on the investment. And in my experience, when you show that to clients and demonstrate to them, they will pay a lot more money for those. They'll invest a lot more in those kind of programs than they will in the kind of one-hit wonder workshops, which I call drive-by training, because the trainer pulls up in a car, jumps out, sprays out a few PowerPoint slides, gets back in the car and is never seen for dust. So it's about you're really presenting a different product to your client, because you're showing them how to achieve a behavioral change that is going to deliver hard, measurable returns on investment, rather than just a workshop that may give a spike in performance as everybody leaves full of enthusiasm, but people tend to drift back to their original habits very quickly unless they are somehow supported in implementing the learning. So it's really about understanding how to do that and how to present that to clients in a way that makes them enthusiastic about investing more money with you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for explaining that. I see a question from David. David Whiteleg, how much time does the program take per day or per week? Well, that's a very good question. So what we have done is we designed the accelerator around people that have a job, that work and that deliver training during the day. So we have a number of sessions. There could be 1, there could be 3, 4 sessions in a week. And they will be sessions that are all delivered online, except for the Business of Training conference, of course, because that's a celebratory end. The online sessions are delivered like we're talking now. They could be 1-to-1, or they could be in a group. Usually they are 1 to 2 hours. So it depends on the type of session. For example, we could do an onboarding session maybe in 2 hours, but then the follow-up sessions on that would be 1 hour. And they are usually done at the beginning or at the end of the day, so that you also have the opportunity to, do your work as we all have to do as well. So it is built around your day. They are sessions of 1 to 2 hours, and they happen at different times in the week, so that it really can fit in everybody's lives. So that's how we structured it. We can give more information. What I would encourage people to do is to look at the website. That is the Accelerator program, and we shared the link there. There is an application process, so fill in the application. It's a few questions. We can then have a follow-up call to explain any of the detail that you need, any of the ingredients that are in there, all of it, to make it completely clear. And you then have all the information to make your decision. This is the Accelerator program. This is the Business of Training Accelerator. It is designed for ambitious businesses that want to really grow their business this year. And I look forward to receiving more questions. I want to thank Anna, Murray, and Mariam for explaining and contributing to this webinar. I look forward to any other questions that people might have. But for now, I would say goodbye. See you at the next webinar.